Hey crew, it's Pitt, and we're doing something a little bit different. Big surprise, right? I hope you got some steel toe boots because I'm gonna step on some toes today. We gonna step on some toes today. So if you soft, you might want to bounce. If you're a racist, you might want to bounce because this is not gonna be a comfortable place for you today. We're gonna show some hard truths. We're gonna go and check out something because I got a comment, and I take y'all's comments seriously. I really do. I take what I do here seriously. I don't take myself seriously, but I take what I do here seriously. I'm really trying to show things that there are commonalities, that there are things in common, despite the fact that a lot of people don't want to hear that. And a guy who, I don't know much about him, but I clicked on his page, and everything that he has content-wise has to do with being melanated. Everything he has, his entire life, is built around melanation. And he got I don't want to say upset because it was a very politely worded phrase, but he said that he could pick apart my analogies rather easily. And I'm going to take him up on it. Come on. Make me some content and show me where my analogies are wrong. Because I went back and watched the video this morning when I was drinking my coffee and I was doing my decompress time, which is in the morning. I went back and watched my own video, which I don't do as much as I used to anymore. I do check in on my sound and video quality and all that, but I don't really watch my stuff anymore because I know what I said, I know where I stand, I know what I need to do moving forward. And so he said that my analogies are easy to pick apart. Well, my analogies were this. This is what my analogies were. I had a really hard life. That was one of the analogies that I made in talking about what this other artist was talking about. And another one I made was that there are disparities, that there are problems on both sides of the fence, that there is extreme poverty, that there is lack of education, and lack of fathers, and lack of positive examples. And all of these things are something that we are severely lacking in our culture. And when I said our culture, I meant our culture. I didn't mean my culture. I didn't mean your culture. I meant our culture here on this continent, in this country that I love. Because we have a problem where only one side of this thing gets shown most of the time. And if it is shown from the other side, then it is shown in a negative light and pushed down and suppressed. And this particular documentary that we're fixing to watch, this is the whole movie. I'm not going to be able to monetize it. It's not a big deal because this is about showing something. We're going to go to a ghetto, right? But it's not a ghetto like you think of a ghetto. They call it a hollow. But out here is the exact same conditions. The only difference is the amount of space between them. And they have ghettos with white people, they have ghettos with black people, they have ghettos with Hispanic people, they have ghettos with Native American people. The ghetto is a mindset. There's one toe stepped on. Because when you live in poverty, it is hard to pull yourself out. It is. You need some positive examples to pull yourself out. So why I highlight the people I highlight on this channel, because they are trying to pull people out. And I support that. It's what I'm trying to do. Pull people out. We're going to talk an awful lot about poverty, and we're going to talk about drug use, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things in this one. But we're not going to deal with the first melanated person, because we're going to show examples of how some of my analogies might not have been as far-fetched as some people might like to think. I understand that slavery was a thing. Everybody on the planet was enslaved before 1776. It all belonged to somebody else, with the very few exceptions of a couple of people at top. That king, nobody owned him except maybe the church, but the king owned everybody in his realm. They were his property. He could tell them where to live. He could tell them what they could do for a living. He could tell them if or not they could get married. He could sleep with their fucking wife before they could. And so, yes, slavery was a thing, and it was fucking horrible. And I'm so glad that we defeated that here. We paid that price in blood. It was terrible. Too many fought to keep it. But that was not the only reason for the Civil War. It was not. It was about states' rights issues, even though they were morally on the wrong side of the slavery issue. They were right in what they did legally. There should have been a legislative process to change it, and the fight was about the legislative process because half of the country said, no, we don't want to live under your rules, so we're going to separate. We want to make our own rules and self-govern. That's what that was about. They made it about slavery, and I personally am glad that slavery is completely eradicated, but it's not. People are bought and sold every single day here in this country, much less in Libya, where they have literal slave blocks with melanated people in chains. Right now, they're bidding on people over there. So don't give me that bull mess about how America is the worst place, because we paid in blood to stop slavery. That didn't happen anywhere else. Britain paid in gold. Europe paid in gold. We paid in blood. We said, nope, we're not paying you money to stop slavery. We're killing you to stop slavery. And so we did. We paid that in blood. There's your reparations. You can get real mad. That is another toe I just stepped on. But that is the only reparations that I will ever support. The ones that were paid in blood already. That debt is paid. Now, we're going to dig into this because there are a lot of similarities between poor white America and poor black America. The difference in the scenery isn't as important as the similarities of the mindsets. And we're going to show that. So let's dig into the American Hollow from 1999. Most of my viewers, according to my analytics, were very much alive during this period of time. This was right before the millennium. There's a satellite dish there. They've got electricity, but we're going to see. Let's dig in. Oh, I forgot. Put my headphones
We got stone twice all on.
I've been around here 68 years. Been gone about 5 months out of the whole time. And I've got 30 grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren. And I told you I'd been married 49 years and had 49 children. Now, we've had the hard times, and we've had good times, and we've had sad times. Sometimes we catch ground squirrels.
You don't know what a ground squirrel is? That's a rat. Like a literal rat.
Clean them up and rile them and eat them.
This is where my people came from, right? There's fully half of my people came from the hills of Tennessee. They came from McNairy County and Selmer County and Raymer and all that area right there around the Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama state line. And they grew up just like this. There are still members of my family today that do not have running water or power in their place. They still have outhouses right now.
Now, it ain't been easy, but we survived.
And see, this is rural, right? You would think that there's plenty of opportunity, but like they've got to drive 2 hours to get to a city, period. In Minnect Hollow, a mile-wide valley in eastern Kentucky. It's located in one of the poorest and most isolated parts of Appalachia. Over 50 family members living in this hollow, right? In the course of 1 year, Irie and Bass and some of their 13 children. I don't know if y'all can read that, so I'm going to try and read it out.
I like him for everything. He's been good to me. He ain't hurt me no way. He abused me in no way.
I'm supposed to.
He helps me do the work. Whatever I do, he does it too. The cooking, he don't cook none.
That's a woman's job. Cook.
If he didn't, I wouldn't fool with him.
I like just the way she is. All of it. She's been.
And I don't know, some of y'all may not have had this experience, but snapping peas was a part of my childhood. Sitting on the front porch, snapping peas with a 5-gallon bucket.
Good to me. Cook me what I eat. Wash my clothes.
Can't do all the work by himself.
I couldn't find another Irish.
Well, we worked hard, but that didn't hurt us. I'm 68, he's 69, we still work. And I plan on working as long as my hands will work. And my legs will go. Poor thing.
It's a harsh reality of life sometimes, too. You can bet because they had to eat them tree squirrels, she keeps chickens around. Or them ground squirrels. She keeps them chickens around now. They got hogs, too.
Me and Bass married in 47. And we got 13 children. Patrick, him and Edith, has 3 stepdaughters. And Ruthie, she lives in Manchester. And she's married to Chester Yance. And Denny, he married Betty Rich, and they live down in the Newbury. And Evelyn married Bob Eastep. They have 2 daughters. Samantha, she stays part-time with her mother. Lonzo lives in the Medley colony. He's married to Pauline Dean, and they have 2 sons, Clintus and Josh. And Neil got 1 little boy, and he's married to Wanda Johnson. They live beside of me. Hector married Rita Dangers, and they have 2 children. And our baby one is David Bowling, and he lives in Ohio. All the children live, except for David, within an hour's drive away from us.
13 children. They all live within an hour's drive, except for 1. That's a mindset. And we're going to see more examples of it as we go through, but this, I got to stay here because this is where my people are. That's a mindset. That being content with where you are is a mindset. I'm gonna show. It's hard for me to articulate what I'm gonna say, so we're gonna go ahead and watch some more.
Pretty good family.
And like what she just said there, right? I've seen this. I watched this before. I wasn't gonna do a video on this until I saw the comment, and I was like, all right, well that's why God showed me this video. I sat here and I watched this yesterday by myself. And so this isn't really a reaction. This is a discussion. And we're going to talk about it because what she just said right there.
Pretty good family.
Pretty good family, right? We're going to see several horrifying examples of why that is not true. And it is. Like, she loves all of her children. She loves all of her steps. She loves all of her grands. She loves all of them. And for her, it's a really good thing. But the interaction of these people together is a horrifying thing. all of the Bolings who live in the hollow receive government assistance. Over 70% of government assistance goes to white people. A lot of people don't believe that, but it is true. And so everyone, all of these people who live in this hollow, 59 people are getting government assistance. For extra cash, they gather and sell moss, ginseng, and bloodroot. At least one of those is illegal. And we see this as an example. I want y'all to notice right here. These people are being industrious, right? They're doing what they think is the only thing they can do to make money. I see so much opportunity in these hills that it's not even funny. But they see the only thing that they can do in this 1 mile stretch of valley is to gather ginseng, moss, and bloodroot. It's the only thing they can do to make money. And I just don't buy that at all. If you got the hustle and you've got the opportunity, there are things they can do to get out. There are nut trees out here that you can gather from. There are all kinds of things, and you can sell them for a profit and live off the bounty of this amazing, 1 mile wide valley. Oh my God.
I worked most of my life. I started when I was about 14. From then on up. If there wasn't one way of getting the money, I'll get out in the hills and get it. See, they're red. And when they're like that, they bleed. That's why they call it bloodroot, I guess. I don't know.
I want to know what that does. So if y'all know what that is and why it's a commodity, let me know, because I'm not familiar with it. I like to be familiar with things.
All I know is just money in it. Yeah, it gets rough at the end of the month for me on just food stamps and stuff. I do this to help pay my bills. Just what check I get don't pay all my bills, girl. If you can't help yourself, you can't help nobody. You ever think of that?
That's some words of wisdom there, Lonzo.
Why, it's always been easy to make it around here. I've always thought it was, if you weren't too sorry to get out and do something. Now, if you're too sorry to get out of the house, and you ain't gonna have nothing. I don't hate doing what I do. I like gathering moss. I like digging roots.
There's that mindset I was talking about. I'm gonna do what I see is the easiest thing to do to get what I just need to get by. It's a mindset.
It just, well, the money don't come, like every week. But you'll get a lot more than $120 a week if you stay busy.
How many pounds have you got?
I will need to sell some ginseng.
Well, you don't need that thing.
At least one thing's illegal.
Yeah.
Pull him up here. Jeremy,
Don't need that thing. He might be wanting to get a picture of buying ginseng. Wouldn't have my picture took of buying ginseng at all. You know who they are. They might be anything.
What, Francis? $80, 5 ounces.
Sounds good.
$80, 5 ounces.
5/16 is 80.
Well, he's went up $1, man.
That look like everybody says.
I wonder if the family circle will be together once again.
And see, this right here, this is the best part of this life, is the camaraderie that these people have is that they like hanging out with each other. They're very toxic when they're together, but they like hanging out with each other. They like being a part of this community. That's part of the mindset, but it's also the best part of what they do because they stay tight knit. And but see this right here, like this right here is what poverty does look like. It doesn't necessarily look like homelessness, although that does play a part in it. And it doesn't look like block housing, although that does play a part in it. It looks like this too. This is what I grew up in. Like, this is so familiar to me. Like, my grandma's house that was built in two parts. They first, when they moved down here, they lived in a one-bedroom house with, I think they had 6 kids at that point. And then they bought a house to move on the property and added on the bathroom and another bedroom and a fireplace. And so, like, it was built in 2 parts, and there was not a stick of insulation in any of it. In the 80s, they got a tin roof put on to replace the one that they had originally had. There was some siding put on about the same time. And it sat there while the termites ate the wood walls all the way out. And the best part about it was the siding on the outside and the tin on the roof. But it was full of love. Like, my grandma was a strong Christian woman. But she retired from the state, and like, she didn't have much. She had her house, and that was about it.
Yeah, but you gotta let me do it down there. Yeah, there's bubbles in there. I said to put them in there, so I did. This is how he gets a bath every night. I don't got no tub in this. You have to make do with what you got. It's like we got now. I won't be able to get them off of you.
Neil is one of the most ambitious of the Bowlings. This guy's who is her husband and his father, is the industrious one who doesn't mind his life. That's the one that was just talking about how you make a lot more than $125 a week. That's him. This is his house. Look, let's look at this. See this picture right here? This personifies, like, this right here is an exemplary example of what I'm talking about mindset. What I talked about yesterday when we talked about the 7 facets of God, right? And we talked about sloth and industriousness and diligence, right? Look at the disarray. Like, my yard's in a bit of a disarray. It is, because I'm in the process of doing a lot of things, and it takes me a long time to get things done because of my disabilities. But I get out there and do at least one thing every day. I get out there and I pick up the buckets, or I pick up the trash in my own yard, right? Or I fix the one piece of siding that's got a hole, right? Just the one thing. It's not buying anything. It's not, spending money on anything. It is taking pride in what you already have, and not a boastful pride, but a humble pride of taking care of what has been placed in your care. They have been placed and had a whole valley placed in their care, and this is how they chose to go about life. This mindset is why I don't talk to most of my family. I have a diverse family, like a lot of different people, and there are several different ethnic groups scattered in there. And most of my family are perfectly content with this. I, at one point, was perfectly content with this type of a life. I was perfectly content with having a house on the side. If I would have had this house, it would have been a little neater, but I would have been perfectly fine with this. My wife is my drive for improvement. Like, she wants that, and not a type of, I want this to be like the most rich person or anything, but we need a comfortable life. We need a stable life for our children. We need to provide as best we can.
the hills, that's where they come out. Socks, clothes. I use rainwater because I don't like to use the well water. It's got sulfur in it. I use the rainwater.
The well water's got sulfur in it.
I catch it in buckets to use.
But talk to me about Detroit's pipes.
No, just now getting your last load out there. Oh, Lord, I'm still washing.
And that's not to take away from what's going on in Detroit. I think what the established government of that city did to its residents is a terrible thing. And if you want to see the root cause of that problem, look at who has been governing it.
Are you done?
No, I don't got that many clothes.
I'm done.
Almost. Hanging up.
Hand wringing and hand washing all these clothes, huh?
Yeah, we take us a good walk of an evening. It's good for a leg. Makes me feel a lot better. And I take Prozac to keep going.
Great life. Wonderful life. You got a son right here begging for attention. Please, Daddy, pay some attention to me. Please, Daddy, show me something. That's what this is right here. That's what he's doing by picking at his hat and standing behind him like this and leaning over, and he's trying to get some attention. It ain't happening because Daddy is zoned on Prozac. Are you kidding me? We know now what a horrible thing Prozac was, but do you think it's any different than the serotonin displacers that you're using now? And when I say you, I'm not targeting anyone specific. But how about all those MAOIs and all of those things that people are taking now? Do you think it's that much different than this Prozac that this man was taking, right? His life revolves around this pill.
And Respidout.
So are you worried about it?
I'm not familiar with Respidout. It's probably banned now too.
That's right. My Prozac's what I want, and that's what I worry about.
When we going fishing? Are you worried about it?
That's right. My Prozac's what I want, and that's what I worry about.
When we going fishing?
I'm not fishing. If I eat any fish, it'd be Long John Silver.
Please, Daddy, please. So this kid, whose father is in his life, has a father who's not in his life. He has no example to see, to set forth, right? He has a father who eats Prozac and mulches, just sits there.
You don't have to eat them.
What? You're messing up my beard.
You got to be down there by 11 o'clock.
That don't mean I can't come home and sleep.
Oh, yeah, you can come back
Oh,
to sleep
yeah.
because I'm going to be down there till about 12 tomorrow night.
Please, Mama.
We're gonna run all night. We're gonna run all day.
When it gets a little warmer, me and the twins alone, why, see if we
Well, I
can
thought Emma was wrong. See what she done to that. Well, he wasn't cold or nothing.
If they was to cut out all this welfare like they're talking about, like cut all these people off welfare, well, you'd have to sit and guard your garden.
This is the guy right here whose kid was in the bathtub, right? This guy right here, smoking a cigarette. His kid's in that bathtub, right?
Like cut all these people off welfare? Well, you'd have to sit and guard your garden.
You'd have to sit and guard your garden. That's coming now. Y'all better, if you're growing food, you better be prepared to defend it. Mine's in an easily defendable location. You better be well prepared if you come try to take my maters.
They can't starve people to death.
Can't starve people to death. It's a mindset. It's a mindset of You have to provide for me. The state must provide for me. I am unable to provide for myself. Meanwhile, this 86-year-old woman is out there hoeing her garden in the same land, the same valley as her son is sitting in, right? Her son's sitting there watching his mama hoe this garden and his daddy hoe this garden. But you know, people just gonna starve. Like there ain't no way to eat.
And they can't
Surrounded by hickory trees, pecan trees.
put everybody to work. It's just not there.
And again, that is a mindset too. There is so much regenerative. It doesn't sound right. To regenerate the land that you could be doing. This could be the most abundant place on earth. You could have a valley of Eden right here. With this many people focused on the same thing, you could have abundance beyond and sell it. You could drive an hour and a half to the city where they don't have these things and sell it and make money. Yes, it is work. Yes, it is a gamble, but it can be done.
I'd like for Jeremy to have it 100 times better than what I was raised up.
I want my young to be raised up better.
We didn't have no.
We had a pretty rough aggravating life.
I just still don't see how they took care of 13.
Well, I don't either. Daddy said he's worked in his life. Only thing Daddy's worked is his goddamn ass.
That man had a hoe in his hand. I don't know his whole history of his life. He obviously did well enough that his wife didn't leave him or run him off. But he's not the best man. I'm not trying to defend him. But these are the people that aren't growing a garden. But that man's out there hoeing. He ain't ever worked a job in his life. My greatest fear is that my kids are not going to remember me as a worker. Because I was a worker. I worked hard. And now I really can't. It has taken me a decade to get back to the point of really somewhat functionality. And I will never be completely healed but through the grace of God. There's no surgery they can do for me. But my kids see me cut the grass. They see me make a garden. They see me clean my house. They see me do the things that that's a woman's job. My kids know that I cook. I have taught my kids to cook. Well, my son's learning this year, but my daughter knows. My son's learning this year because that is a life skill that you need to have. They know how to wash their own clothes. They've been doing it for years. They don't do it they don't do what I want them to do, but they're doing something. I would like their rooms to be a little bit cleaner, but they're teenagers, and teenagers go through their messy periods. Keep it hygienic and we're good. But they see me be diligent, but they've never seen me work. They're not old enough. Like my daughter is 12, she'll make 20 this year, right? I've been injured since 2012, so a decade. She was 8 the last time I worked. And so she doesn't have a memory of me as a worker. My son has no memory of me as a member of the workforce. They know their mom works. They don't know that I work, so they can say this about me. There's working and there's working. But I don't know that they will say that about me because they see me do things out. But they could. These people see their daddy out there hoeing the ground while they're not even making a garden and say that he just sat on his ass all his life. It's a mindset. I'm a victim because daddy didn't do. If daddy would have went out there and done this, then my life would have been better. And yeah, they probably got a good argument for that. But you can't hold on to that. How old are you now? You're still blaming your daddy for your life.
Well, now, why not be straight about it, Paul? Daddy was an alcoholic. He would stay drunk. He didn't bring food home. Mommy supported her young'uns.
If it hadn't been for Mommy, we would have starved.
Yeah, we'd have been dead.
And like I said, I don't know the whole story. He may not have helped her garden the whole life. But she said that he helped with the work. She said that whatever she's doing, he's doing. And if you're living a rural life and your life is the gardening and all of those things, and it's not having an outside job and working for someone else, then that is work. Like, that is a valid work. Now, You can make arguments about it may have improved their life if he would have been more diligent. There are things that they could do for this garden that would completely change the whole family's outset. Just that one patch of ground we saw them hoeing, they could change everything for the whole family. And a lack of knowledge. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. And my people is not just the same melanin. Y'all don't ever think it is that. My people are all my people. And all of my people are all of God's people. And every single one of you is part of God's people.
Now this is not the house I was born in. It was a big log house. You have to get over all that mud. So I guess I was about probably 12-years old whenever they built this house. That's my daddy right there. He was about, I guess, 76 years old when it was made. His mommy, and she's holding my two sisters. And the other little girl on the side is my sister Marion. And this is me. I was probably about 10 years old at that time. I was raised up in an abused home now. Daddy would beat Mommy and pull her hair, kick her till I'd think she was going to die. Well, I was scared. I'd be scared of my daddy onto my mother beating on her. I'd be scared to move and crying my eyes out over her.
And that's why she latched on to the first man she found that wasn't going to do that, regardless of any other faults he had. What she latched on to because of her insecurities, because of the way she was raised, and the lack of a father figure. Like, that was not a father figure. It wasn't. It was a father. It was a daddy. It was whatever you want to call it, but that was not a father figure. A father figure doesn't hit his wife. A father figure doesn't beat his children, right? A father figure is industrious and stewardess. Like, they steward the family. That's a father figure. That's a man who just got lucky. And that was the mindset back then, and it is still that way in many places. Just like racism is an actual problem now, the domestic problem and the lack of exposure of it, that is a problem.
But now Mommy took abusing right on and on. He even got the gun on her. Would keep us all tore up. We were scared for him to come home, afraid what he'd say. We were scared to leave home, go to school, afraid what he'd do to Mommy before we got back.
It's real life for way too many people. Way too many.
Granny, here's your food. Here's your food. She went through a lot of pain. I show you the scars. I've had to feed her for 6 years, going on 7.
This is an absolutely heartbreaking. Number one, my father-in-law is in the beginning stages of dementia. We have already had my wife's aunt pass from Alzheimer's. And it is a horrifying thing to watch. It is terrible to see the mind go that way. And the way the body wastes away. And the burden that it places upon people is extraordinary. It is very difficult to deal with a parent that is dealing with this, or a grandparent, or anything. To deal with the stress of taking care of somebody in that manner. But the way she talks here breaks my heart in another way, because this woman right here, this woman that she's feeding, put up with a lot of abuse for her children. And we can argue whether or not that was a good choice, or whether that mindset kept her there, or whether She could have made better decisions about her life. We can argue about those things. But she did what she thought was the best at the point in time she was in. And she took them beatings for her kids. And maybe it was the wrong decision to stay. Probably is the wrong decision to stay. You should not stay in that situation. But back then it was a different way of life, and there was no other option for her, right? I can't just run off, right? Ain't that what the argument is? Everywhere's that there's poverty? Well, I can't go anywhere else. So we're going to assume that. And now we're going to listen to Ida. And she doesn't mean this mean-spirited. But her mama can still hear her. She may not be able to acknowledge it. She may not be able to verbalize or to move or to do things for herself. But she can still hear. Then you can make an argument that maybe she can't understand it. But I see this woman's eyes when she hears these things coming out of her daughter's mouth. And it breaks my heart. What you say has power. The things that you speak into your own life and into others' lives, they have power. Words are the creation of the universe. The world is the harmonics of God's voice.
No girls, no daughter-in-laws except to take care of Granny. Sometimes I get so tired myself I don't feel like standing and feeding.
No matter how bad it gets, no matter how hard it is, you should never say anything like that to your wife, your husband, your child, or your mother, or your father. You should not do that. Particularly when they're in a situation like this. This lady can't feed herself. She can't make her own decisions.
But I don't care to feed her. She fed me when I was a baby. If she hadn't, I wouldn't have been here.
That is an emotionally manipulative statement. Listen to this in its entirety. I'm not going to break it up this time. I want y'all to listen to this in its entirety. And the way that she's bringing this back around is emotionally manipulative. These are things to watch for in your own life if people are talking to you in that manner. Pay attention to what's going on, because they're not doing anything for you at that point. When they say this, it is to bring their own vainglory home.
I like standing and feeding.
Man, let's back it up.
No daughter-in-law except to take.
One more. All right, sorry. This is going to be long
I've
enough.
feed her for 6 years, going on 7. No girls, no daughter-in-law except to take care of Granny.
I said I wasn't going to stop it, but out of the 50 plus people that live there, and no girls or no daughter-in-laws will help feed her. She got sons too, right? She got grandsons too, right? That's another mindset. That, oh, that's a woman's job, that's a man's job. If you have that mindset, you're broken already. That is not to mean that you're irretrievably broken. But if you're like, I can't cook because I'm a man, that's just dumb. I can't sweep the floor, I'm a man. My wife needs to do that. That's just dumb. You need to stop that. That's dumb.
Sometimes I get so tired myself I don't feel like standing and feeding. But I don't care to feed her. She fed me when I was a baby. If she hadn't, I wouldn't have been here.
That's emotional manipulation. And she's doing it to play herself up for the camera, for one. But also for her mom, who she knows can hear her.
Sometimes she won't even pay any attention to me.
Irene's son Edgar has been arrested for allegedly breaking and entering in a neighbor's house.
All I know, my son's in jail. I hate to see him out there, but he'll get out. He was
Here's more examples of mindset.
accused of breaking and entering. property and said there was trespassing signs there.
And he didn't do nothing.
And
Like the automatic assumption, he didn't do nothing.
Nick said he did not break no locks. He did not go to no fence. He come down by the barn and met the man. And he said he had nothing to hide from him.
This is his side. This is his story, right? He came down. He didn't break no locks. He came out and he met the man. So he is admitting to being on the property where he is not supposed to be, but he didn't break no locks and he wasn't inside nowhere, right? That comes into play later, but I wanted to make sure and point that out because Mr. I didn't do nothing just admitted that he did something.
Where they've got my brother right now at, I don't even know where it's at. I don't even know where to start the bank.
There ain't no way I could. See, my place is tied up. It's mortgaged, and they won't take mortgage place. And I tried everywhere, but nobody couldn't come up with the money.
Going down to get Neil, go get Edgar out of jail.
Mindset.
I don't like to see him in there. I've been in there, been places 3 times.
He's proud about that. You see that right there? See the way he turned and looked at him? He's proud about the fact that he's been in jail 3 times.
I don't like to see him in there. I've been in there, been places 3 times.
See how he brightens up right there? He's proud of that.
Ain't no disgrace get put in jail, just stay in there.
Ain't no mindset involved in that, huh? We ain't never heard that nowhere else before, have we?
Hey, ain't you got no...
Particularly the one interview in particular that the comment was on. Like the guy that made that comment, there's 0 chance he's going to watch this video. But, like, if he were to watch this video, that particular one, that spot right there, was where I made one of my analogies. In that.
What? Me?
I don't know. They're gonna wait.
No, we heard it.
You done missed breakfast. I done ate it all.
See that interaction right there? Watch him walk up. This is his son, one of the ones that live there, but not the one that owns the house. And watch the interaction here. Watch his face when it happens.
We heard it.
You done missed breakfast. I done ate it all.
Neil ever got it?
No.
Nah, he's still in there snoring.
Well, Edgar's wanting him to come and get him in Plattsburgh.
Where's he?
Plattsburgh.
Morgan County.
That's where Plattsburgh, that's north.
Here we go. It's time to get up. Get up, get up, get up. Come on. Get up. Get up now.
There's a lot going on right there, right? This guy is asleep on the couch in his own house. Surely there's no abuse situation there. And I'm not even talking about physical abuse. Surely there's no chemicals being abused by this group of people in this slum house, right? No analogies that could be drawn between poor peoples everywhere. No, none at all.
Oh, look at the hell on that this morning.
I ain't never known nobody getting out of jail on Sunday. Nowhere, nobody.
If they can't find nothing on him and they ain't got nothing to hold him on, they should bring him back to the point where they got him.
That don't happen. Right. 2 hours to the county jail. Just everyday average small town America. And a lot of people have never been out of the big cities and they don't know that this is what it looks like in a lot of places. I can take you all kinds of places where everybody in it lives in abject poverty. You can go 3 minutes from my house and be in the middle of a hood that you wouldn't want to be in. And it's a mindset that keeps them there. They could be over here. There are jobs out here that will hire them, but there's a mindset that keeps them there. And again, that's not talking about melanated people. I'm talking about white people right now. But you didn't think I was.
Well, pretty ragged out. Now,
This man is not having a good time in prison. Now, whether that's because he's fiending or what, but he's been in there a couple of days and he is not enjoying the experience. And I don't blame him. It's not a pleasant experience.
you know, there's guys that can help, but they have to know the facts. Did you go in the house? So you've got a witness that was with you that you didn't even get out of the vehicle.
I understand trying to justify yourself, right? But Mr. Didn't Do Nothing, right here, who has already admitted to his mama that he was out of the car. He didn't get it. He got out of the vehicle. He come around the house when the man called him, right? Just said that, no, I didn't even get out of the car. I've got a witness that says I didn't even get out of the car.
That neither one of you got out of the vehicle.
Interesting side note, though. When I did my little piece, right, I did 7 days because my ex-girlfriend ran away. And the reason that they picked me up was there was this guy that I used to hang out with. And he was staying with this other guy that was our age. And he got kicked out. And he's like, I need to go get my stuff. I was like, all right, well, I'll ride with you. So I got in the car with him. We went over there. Well, I didn't even know. He broke in and stole all kinds of stuff, right? That's the charge that they picked me up on. But I was literally never got out of the car. I literally didn't even know what was going on. But I got picked up and charged and spent 7 days in jail behind that. And it wasn't no mistaken identity, which somehow makes it into this. But yeah, so I know exactly where he's at. But he says, I didn't get out of the car after he's already admitted that he did get out of the car. That's mindset too. That's not the owning what you did. That's not taking any responsibility for doing wrong. That's just trying to get out of it.
Sometimes somebody will tell you the truth no matter how bad a liar they are or whatever. But, you know, I've never known him to go in nobody's house. Or you know, and do this sort of thing. Because he's always done like the rest of us, dug roots and stuff for his money or whatever.
Edgar has never been in no kind of trouble. And neither has the other boys has never been in no kind of trouble like this is accused to be.
Ain't never been in no kind of trouble, right? Ain't none of them been arrested. Ain't none of them been drunk and disorderly. Ain't none of them been having drug charges or any of that. None of that happened.
I've been caught several times for public drunkenness and stuff.
Well, damn, Ida. Or Irene. I keep calling her Ida. It's Irene.
Me to jail. They said it's either you babysit or you go to jail.
Black truck on the
I said, by God, let's go to jail.
That's a stand-up father figure right there. Either you babysit your own kids. Hey, first off, it's not babysitting, it's parenting. Or you go to jail. So I say take me to jail, all right?
I went to prison from here, and I never want to ever live here again. I hate this place.
Ain't none of them never been in no trouble.
Why did you go to prison?
Trafficking in drugs.
Ain't none of them never been in no trouble. It's a mindset. And it's not exclusive to anybody's culture. Nobody's. It is an American thing.
I never even sold the stuff. It just happened to be there where it was sold.
I didn't do nothing. Like, I own my mistakes. When I tell you about the car, that was a real thing. I really wasn't out. Like, that's long settled. I ain't got no pending nothing. There ain't no way to ever get me for anything. I was just there. I really had no fucking clue. But they used that. Like, they used that to hold me in jail because my ex-girlfriend ran away. Because of what my last name was. Because I lived like these people live.
I saved this out of my check. Well, Santini don't fixing this end of my house and get me a VCR. So there's $500. There's you.
This is a deed to a little plot of land that me and Wanda own. And we're going to put it up as bond to get Ed out of jail. Which I'd do it for any of them. I mean, dirt's dirt, you know.
And if he messes up, if you don't know how a property bond works, if he puts his property up and he gets his brother out of jail and his brother fucks up, he loses his property. Which I don't necessarily agree with. I understand the reason for bail. I understand the reason for bonds. I understand all of that stuff. But I think our judicial system should be swifter in things. And most of what we have doesn't really need to be bonded. But they make money at it.
Your brother's your blood.
We don't have a prison system that reforms. We have a punitive. Like, you were bad, sit in the corner. We don't have a, hey, you might be going through something. Let's see if we can figure it out and make it better. That's where I would like to see our prison systems go.
You can get more dirt. But I got 7 brothers, but still yet I like to keep them all. I ain't got no, I've not got one to spare, you know.
7 brothers.
Okay, but he is in our jail out here. And you want to do a property bond? Where do you own the property?
In Perry County.
In Perry County.
Now, see, the deed is only like $2,000, so I got $500 cash.
The amount is going to have to be worth $5,000.
Well, they told me in Leslie County I could do it. Well, now, how come they never told me this before I made this 2-hour trip?
I have no idea. But that's, I mean, that's the way it is all over the state of Kentucky.
Mine's not that.
I'm sorry. Anybody else in the family that can?
7 brothers. They're good, solid people, though, right?
Mommy's place, Denny's place, Piercy's place, none of them is valued at $5,000. He's just stuck like Chuck.
He's thinking he's coming home.
The deed, they told me out there, the deed had to be worth $5,000 to go a $2,500 bond. And I brought my deed and $500 and they wouldn't take it.
That ain't right.
That'd be worth twice the amount. Right there.
Well, how am I gonna go out?
I'd say you probably have to stay till Thursday until they have your arraignment, boom, and then lower the bond. I've done all that. I've offered to put my place up or whatever, and they won't take it.
And he's one of the most stand-up out of the whole group.
Well, I'm gonna get out here. I don't think you'll be going nowhere. We'll see you Thursday, man.
Watch his face. This is a terrible spot for him. He's not happy, and he shouldn't be. You shouldn't be happy for being in prison, right? For any reason. No reason whatsoever. before we get into this one, I'm going to have to do this in segments because it is just that long. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. We're already an hour in. It's about a good time to do it. We're going to go through this whole movie. There's probably going to be, 3 parts, maybe 4 out of this. I want to show the other side that there is poverty, extreme, deject poverty, but it is the result of a mindset. Everywhere's that you find it. Everywhere's that you find it. Everywhere's that you find it. And people gonna get mad about that. I don't care. I'm here to tell you the truth. I have no agenda to not tell you the truth. It does not matter to me if you think I'm a racist. It does not matter to me if you think I'm a sexist or a xenophobe or a misogynist. I know who I am. I am a child of God, and I'm doing what He's telling me to do. This next part's going to be dealing with God, right? So we're going to wait, and we're going to get into that this next 20-minute segment. But y'all keep in mind what happened here, because this is real life. Like, this is really the choices that people are really making still today to stay in the same situation. This church, just look real quick before we wrap it up at the effects of this church. We've got trash on the steps of the church, disrepair, stuff packed up in the windows. These people are not being stewards. They think they are. And it's a mindset. But if they wanted to fix just one thing a day, that's all it takes, is stepping one time. And when you make that one step and you make it consistent, then you can take 2 steps. And you make that consistent. And then you take 3 steps. Find out what you can do. Change your own fucking mindset. Because this mindset is poverty. This mindset is oppression. If the state is not taking care of them, then they have no hope. But they are in an abundance of resources. Opportunity abounds in this country. They could sell this property. I know they don't want to, but they could sell that property. And in 1999, for $2,000, you could have bought a piece of property right here where I'm at and put a trailer on it or put a house on it. There are jobs. We're in Cancer Alley. That's what they call it, because there are so many refineries on this river that everybody gets cancer. So we have so much work here. Nobody wants to work. There are so many opportunities. There are opportunities there that you're overlooking for ignorance because you don't know that they are opportunities. It is a mindset. It is the mindset that I want to change. I don't care. I don't want anybody to be living in poverty, but I don't think the government will get them out. I think we can get them out. I said before that I want to start a community that has the camaraderie that these people have. Well, that's what I want. I want us to work as a family, right? I don't need us all on the same property because then it gets complicated. But if you've got neighbors who are like-minded, you can change your entire area. You can become the abundance in that area. And all it takes is the knowledge. First, you have to find out what's wrong with you, and then you have to fix you. Then you can start in places elsewhere. But until you fix you and your mindset, you will never get there. I'm going to wrap this up here. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to shoot all these today. I don't know that I'm going to get any music done today. I had stuff pulled up to get done today, but this is taking precedence because this is important. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me. And I'm praying for you, regardless of who you are, every single day. I want us all to rise as one, people. That is what I want. Y'all stay tuned. We'll get back to part 2 here in just a minute. Till next time, this has been Pittstake. Peace.